Good afternoon. I'm Melanie Walker from the Act Now program in NAMI, New Jersey. Our multicultural group is a self-help organization. NAMI, New Jersey is especially sensitive to the concept of mutual caring and responsibility implicit in family relationships. In that context, NAMI, New Jersey provides outreach to families from various cultures that are affected by serious mental illness. NAMI, New Jersey has gained considerable expertise in the area of multicultural outreach and program development. ACT Now, the African American community, CAMHOC, Chinese community, NAMI in Espanol, Latino, and SAMHAJ, the South Asian, are our 4 NAMI, New Jersey multicultural support and education programs. These programs also provide education for mental health professionals to help them better understand cultural treatment and issues relevant to these populations. In 2014, NAMI New Jersey received the American Psychiatric Foundation Award for advancing minority mental health. ACT Now is the program that's African American Community Together Now. It's an initiative connecting New Jersey's African American communities, which includes people with mental illness and families affected by mental illness, the faith community, and mental health professionals. ACT Now has provided cultural competence support, education, and advocacy through 3 support groups in the northern, central, and southern regions of New Jersey. Now we'll hear a little bit more about SAMHAJ from Suba.
Thank you, Melanie. Namaste, everyone. My name is Subha Balisetti. I'm a statewide coordinator for NAMI New Jersey's South Asian Multicultural Program, SAMHAJ, South Asian Mental Health Awareness in Jersey. SAMHAJ provides support for families and individuals affected by mental illness through support groups and referrals to bilingual and cultural competent mental health services. We offer a supportive environment to help individuals and their families to learn to navigate the often complicated mental health system. Our South Asian staff and volunteers speak various South Asian languages. We bring workshops and presentations on topics that are very important to our members in their journey towards recovery. We also bring presentations to schools for mental health providers and other social service agencies to learn more about the rapidly growing South Asian community in the state of New Jersey in order to provide culturally competent services. SAMHAJ means understanding. If we change the pronunciation to SAMHAJ, it's community. We want SAMHAJ, understanding community around us. And here at SAMHAJ and NAMI New Jersey, we are tirelessly working towards SAMHAJ by providing all these resources and services to bring awareness and to remove stigma and taboo associated with mental illness. Melanie, your turn.
All right. And our 2 other programs coordinators could not make it today, but you'll get their recordings in the recording that's sent on YouTube after this webinar. Our CAMHOG program is the Chinese American Mental Health Outreach Program in New Jersey. It's an initiative to help people of Chinese origin, including immigrants from mainland China, Hong Kong, Taiwan, and their descendants in New Jersey, gain better understanding about mental illness as a biological-based and treatable disease. CAMHOC pronounces like golden crane in Chinese. The crane is a symbol of health and longevity in Chinese culture. NAMI in Espanol is an awareness and education program developed by NAMI New Jersey, serving the Hispanic and Latino community in New Jersey. It offers self-help support groups locally, family-to-family education programs in Spanish, and a myriad of other outreach activities. So those are the rest of our multicultural programs. And as of now, we're going to get started on a brief presentation about stress relief and how we could go about learning about what stress is and how we can alleviate it. Okay, great. We're just going to go by a quick presentation about the ABCs of stress management. We'll break down what stress exactly is. So what is stress? Stress is defined as a constraining force or influence, a physical, chemical, or emotional factor that causes bodily or mental tension and may be a factor in disease causation. Eustress means beneficial stress, either psychological, physical, through exercise or biochemical radiological hormesis. The term was coined by endocrinologist Hans Selle, consisting of the Greek prefix "u" meaning good and stress literally meaning good stress. Signs of stress. Physically, when we're going through stress, we could have headaches, digestive problems, sleep disturbances, pain, appetite changings, either if you're eating more or eating less, fatigue, skin problems that can manifest themselves as hives, rashes, and etc. Signs of stress socially and behaviorally, as we were talking about before, we could be eating more. So that means that we're compulsively eating. Repetitive ideas, something that's like compulsively thinking about something. Tardiness, this could be tardiness at school, at work, or doctor appointments that we need to go to, and just running late a lot. Loss of productivity. We realize that when we're working or at school, we can't put out as much as we used to be because we're under a lot of stress. Absenteeism, this is when we can't make it to where we need to go. People are staying at home when they actually need to be out at work or home. Increase in smoking, drinking, and drug use. This is a way of self-medicating and trying to get ourselves better when we're under stress to maybe alleviate it. And social isolation and withdrawal. That means we don't want to go out in public as much. We are trying to withdraw because maybe there's a stressor outside that we don't want to deal with. Psychological and emotional. This could be increased moodiness. We could be happy one time or extremely sad, and it's more cycling than what we normally are used to. Withdrawing from others, like we were saying before, we don't want to go out as much. Our friends, our coworkers might want to do something, but we don't want to do that anymore because there's some sort of stress. Difficulty concentrating and restlessness. It seems like there's nothing that can kind of keep us from just constantly just going about things, like everything is making us uncomfortable and we can't get to that place of comfort. Loss of memory. We can't remember things that we normally remember. And we just get to that point where we can't even remember little things here and there. Crying and overly sensitive, things that don't really make us upset before, everything is making us upset. So we're crying a lot and getting overly sensitive over things that are normally, that wouldn't make us upset. Angered easily, being irritable, short-tempered, things that are making us upset, very easy. Difficulty making decisions. We're very indecisive, thinking and doubting ourselves if things are going to go the right way if we make this decision. If we're under a lot of stress, this just keeps increasing. Easily annoyed, like we were saying before, we're being oversensitive. Things are making us irritable, angry and stuff. So it's very easily annoyed. Cognitive problems, how we think about certain things starts to be delayed or slowed down because we're thinking about certain things and we don't have the way to be able to process our thoughts. Okay, coping with stress. We got to identify the symptoms. As those last 3 slides that we had physical, psychological, emotionally, social, and behavioral. So we can identify these symptoms and realize that these are the things that might make us stress, and they're manifesting themselves physically or in our thought process. Prioritize our stressors. Basically, what are some of the things that we can deal with now and other things that we can't deal with later? Can we put off some things that are really stressful, or can we have to deal with them right now? Past coping. What have we done in the past to deal with stress? Have we, just gone for a walk if it's something simple that's stressing us, or is it something that we might journal away? Is it something that we go into our therapist? What have we done in the past to help us out? Find available solutions, as we were talking about before. Okay, can we go to the therapist? Is there someone that we could just talk to really quick? Is it that one phone call that we make to a relative or a family member or a friend that we can actually be able to find solutions through someone else? And remember the 4 A's and the ABCs of stress management. These will be put on the next slide, so it could give you some tips to be able to deal with it. So the ABCs of stress management, for A, it's ask for help. It's always good to have a community support system around for you. If you don't have someone that you could talk to on a regular basis, there's many of phone calls that you could be able to make out to different hotlines and stuff to be able to ask for some type of help. Sometimes we forget to breathe when we're going through a lot of things and we just get short of breath, or we kind of hold our breath when we're dealing with stress. Just remember to learn how to just breathe in and breathe out a lot of times to be able to maybe just get that oxygen in where we need to go. Collect your thoughts. If our thoughts are all over the place, we have to find a way to get those back into processing. And that could be done through like a therapist or talking to one of our professionals or a counselor or a therapist to be able to get them together. Discuss your feelings. A lot of times we don't want to say things when we're feeling bad. We just want to go through certain things and just say, okay, we're just going to go through it, pull ourselves up by the bootstraps and not talk about what's actually going on. Exercise and eat well. Sometimes when we're not eating well and we don't have the fuel to be able to process things, sometimes stress is one of the things that it actually starts to attack our physical health. So exercise and eating well makes a difference. There's some foods that, some people are okay with. There might be an allergy or something. So we got to find different things that if it's going to be stressful. Get help from others. As I've been mentioning before, it's a support system is always good to be able just to help with your stress and everything. If there's like 10 things on your plate, someone might be able to take 5 of those away. So that helps when we get help from others. Helping someone else with a problem, be it something that's similar to yours, something that's not similar to yours. You can help them with a problem and get your minds off of the stress to be able to process things and maybe look at it from a different standpoint. I statements. When you talk to someone that you're trying to create boundaries with, sometimes it's good to start with I statements. I feel upset when you left and didn't leave me a lot of time to be able to get things that I needed to get done, as opposed to the accusatory, like you left me like this and now I'm upset. That kind of can de-escalate the situation and not be so stressful. Journaling things out. Basically seeing it on paper sometimes makes us able to manage our stress a little bit better, to see it on paper sometimes. Everybody learns differently. Some are more visual. Some people are more outside of just practical things. So journaling sometimes help. Keeping calm. I know that sounds a little bit easier than what it is, but keeping calm in situations sometimes helps us a lot of times to be able to figure out how we're going to get out of our stress. Laugh. There's been many studies shown that when we laugh sometimes or smile, it actually gets our physical system together and we process stress a little bit different. Meditate. This could be anything from just focusing on nature and hearing different things in the outside to whatever religious process that you go through. And taking a nap, 20 minutes here and there might help if we're stressed and not able to sleep. And that also gets a little physically stress off of us. Observe, see what's going on, see what made you feel stressed before. See if there's anything that you can put in your toolbox from outside to be able to help you. Play, just as simple as taking a quick basketball game, or it could be a soccer, kick a ball around or something that gets you physically going, that could get that good feeling back to you. Quiet time. There's a lot of things that come into our quiet time, and be it that we're on the internet a lot. There's emails pinging. There's always maybe like something that says, oh, buy this or buy that. Then we get text messages and stuff. So sometimes it's good to just turn the phone down, turn it off, not get our notifications or something like that. Relax. Just by sitting down sometimes helps us process stress a little bit better. And this kind of goes hand in hand with slow down. Don't be so quick to go into something, be able to process it a little bit better and kind of calm down a little bit. And talking out. This one seems to be a repetitive one, to be able to talk it out, but it's a lot to get it out a lot of times, to be able to talk to people. You'll use tools. A lot of times when we talk about tools for our toolbox, these are different from everybody else. For sometimes someone sitting down and reading a book could be a stress reliever, but for somebody else, it might be something else. So use your tools that work for you. Everybody's different. Like we mentioned before, vent. If you just want to say to your friend, call up, hey, I'm not feeling well about this. This is stressing me out. And sometimes you don't even have to get them to solve your problem. You just wanted to get it off your chest. Walk away from the situation. There's a lot of times that we can't change things that go on. So the best sometimes is to walk away from the situation and not continue to stress us out about it. X-ray your feelings. This is when you have to figure out what exactly is going on with you. Something that seems a little different is to yell into a pillow. Sometimes that gets it out as well. And zoning out is also a good opportunity to get things done. Just sit there and just not think about things. As I mentioned before, we're going to focus on our A a little bit more for stress management. And this would be to avoid the situation, alter the situation, accept it, and adapt. So I'll go into more detail so you can have an idea what's going on. Avoid. You can escape some of your stressors. This is kind of going in the same vein of walking away. Create a distance between you and the stressor, be it physically, psychologically, or emotionally. This could be basic creating boundaries. Letting what is comfortable for you be known to other people that are in your environment can create less stress for you. And we always say no. It's easier said than done, but a lot of times when we're able to say no to some things, because our plates are always full with so many different things, saying no sometimes just takes a lot of stuff off of our plate. When we say to alter our stress, is communicate clearly and let people know your boundaries and expectations. This is kind of similar to what we were talking about before. Ask someone to change their behavior towards you. If it's someone that is constantly talking about negative things or something, just say, hey, I know I might not be the person to be able for you to vent. Can we please not talk about negative things? I'm not in the space for that right now. And you could use I statements in that. So it could be something that's modeled as, I feel uncomfortable when you start venting about negative things. Can we please talk about positive things? And maybe later I might be able to, you might be able to vent to me when I'm in a different space. So that's how you kind of create a boundary if somebody's venting to you or something that's stressful. And then give your limitations up front. Just know sometimes, I might not be the person that you could talk to me about certain things, but I am here for you for this. So you have people understand exactly what they can depend on you and what they can't. And then also you could be that support for them as well. If it's something that you can't do one place, you could do something else. And it's okay to be able to create your boundaries so you can manage your stress a little bit better. Accept. When you can't alter or avoid the stress, accept the situation. And then this is when you want to bring into someone that's a therapist, a counselor, or a friend that can actually deal with talking about it. There's some things that we can't change, and then we have to just move on a lot of times. And that's what we mean by accept it. The forgiveness is for yourself and others. So if you cannot change the situation or something went wrong that's stressing you out, just accept that you can talk to somebody else and be able to get through the situation. And then just realizing when it's time to move on. If something's stressing you and it's continually stressing you out and you can't change it, then it's time to move on for it and just keep your peace about you. And adapt. Change your expectations of stressful situations. Basically, this could be something as simple as if you're going into work or something and you know that you take this one route to work or something, you can change the way that you go about it. If you're close enough to go to certain places, you can walk instead of driving. If driving's stressful to you, or if it's something that you can have somebody else drive, carpool with somebody. Those are just certain situations how you can adapt. We can't strive for perfection, and we can make substitutes if we need be. We can't be 100% at everything. So we have to understand when there are situations that we can be 100% and when we cannot. And this is how you can make stuff easier for yourself. Have a lot of forgiveness for yourself. Have some mercy for yourself if there's something that's stressing you out and you can't get over it. And don't ruminate over stressful situations. If you keep thinking about the stressful situation, it's not going to be able to be alleviated. So that's when we have to figure out how we can change our mindset about that and be positive. If things are not looking 100% or something, we can always say, okay, well, it's not like this now, but will it be like this later on? And this kind of ties into, will the stressor or stress matter in a year, 5 or 10 years? Will it matter in 5 minutes or 10 minutes? Put it in perspective exactly what is able to be a part of like stress and everything. It might not matter in the future if something's stressing you now, but just be able to get through it. And so a lot of times when I talk about helping your coping skills, it's get a support team. NAMI, you're here today. We have plenty of support groups. We have plenty of education programs that you can look on our website and be able to look into. We partner a lot with intensive family support services. They're basically in every county of the New Jersey with free services. They give advocacy as well, education programs to learn about mental illness and stuff as well. We have doctors. As we mentioned before, if something is stressing you out and it's manifesting itself as an illness or a disease, the doctors will be the first one to be able to help you with that. Psychiatrists or psychiatrists, these are people that can be able to talk with you as well. Same with licensed clinical social workers, therapists, counselors. These are the people that you want to be able to talk to. And there are some services that you can look into to alleviate cost as well. Nurses, these people are just as well qualified as doctors. A lot of times they're the people that you see the first before you see the doctors. They are a good part of your support team to maybe help you out with any type of stress. Church, wherever you go, be it the temple, the mosque, or just a church, you can have anybody there to be able to talk to, be it the congregants or anyone there. Family and friends, we mentioned this before, our relatives and our friends are usually the first line of when we're going through something or a support system. So be able to rely on them. Taking care of yourself. A lot of times we feel guilty about feeling angry or upset or sad. It's okay to have these feelings, but what is most important is how you use these feelings when you are stressed. How do you get over things? Is always a good indicator to see how you're going to be able to get through it. We can't control our feelings, but we can definitely control how we react to things. As we mentioned before, stay physically in good health, exercise, eat right, and go to the doctor. As much as we want to get checked up physically, we have to also sometimes do our mental checkup every now and again. Continue educating yourself on different things. Know what stresses you out, what things are positive for you, accept your limits. And again, we've always hammered this, learn when to say no when things are stressful. Other things, remember to set aside time for yourself that's not illness related, be it mental health and physical health. If we've been diagnosed with something, we just don't want to focus on the illness. We want to focus on getting better and enjoy things that aren't necessarily dealing with illness. Get a life of your own. A lot of times we want to get in the subject of being able to live our life, and we have to have other people, depend on us. But remember what makes you you and be able to live that life out. Give support to others in situations similar to yours. As we mentioned before, if someone is going through a similar type of stress, by helping them out, we might be able to figure out something that might help you. And again, ask for help. It's not a problem to ask anybody to help you with your support system. And again, set boundaries and limits with people if needed to keep your stress at a minimum. And remember to maintain your stress year round. A lot of times there's certain things that pop up, holidays, birthdays, certain things that are stressful for planning, and just another year going around. So we want to make sure that we keep it level during the year. And we also got to remember we can't do everything, and delegate some tasks to people. Tap into your support systems, keep things in moderation, plan ahead and schedule things. When we wait till the last minute, it's a hurry and a rush to get things done. We kind of want to just plan it out and schedule it so we can kind of keep that stress at a minimum. So these are some references that you can look into that'll help you out. And now we're done with the presentation part, and we'll take some questions that Suba will answer.
Hi, Melis. I'm watching Q&A and chat. I don't see any questions yet, but one thing I had to say is I love those ABCs that you showed. I wish I can get a poster with all those ABCs so I can put it in the room just to remind ourselves. There are so many ways, A to Z ways we can cope. And also actually 4 A's is my mantra. So I actually keep that in my mind all the time. And asking for help is actually not a weakness, it's a strength. That's something that also I keep on reminding myself. Saying no, asking for help are the two things most of the time we kind of hesitate, right? Feel uneasy. So those are the two things that are actually strengths, and we need guts to go and say, I'm not going to do this because I need my time for myself. Yeah. Thank you for sharing all that, and really great presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. So I guess what we'll do, we'll ask a few questions about culturally how we deal with stress. So I'm going to ask Suba, how do you define stress?
I think more or less everyone goes through the experience of some sort of stress, right? It's what I think stress is, it's actually a normal reaction, how body and mind feels when we face challenging or difficult situations. So it's like how someone feels when they are under a lot of pressure or time crunch or decision-making tasks where we have a lot of unknown variables type of thing. When you don't know the outcome, it can be physical or emotional related situations. That's how I define stress. And I'm sure it changes from person to person, how they respond to it.
Yes, absolutely. I kind of agree with you. Everything you said about defining stress. I know for me, when I feel like I have so many things on my plate, a lot of times I get stressed out. For me, I want to do everything. So a lot of times when I keep seeing it on the presentation where it's like, okay, learn how to say no. That's where I know I have to I have too many things on my plate a lot of times that I don't say no to. So that's what stress is. Basically having too many balls to juggle a lot is stressful. And I think that's what we kind of fall into a lot of times, that we want to do everything, but we can't.
We want to be superhuman. So
yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah.
So we kind of defined stress a little bit through the PowerPoint and what Suba said, and we did. What exactly is stressful to you?
For me, there were stressors that I went through when my son was born, because he had complex heart condition, which we didn't know, and had to go through multiple surgeries and all that at the time. Within 24 hours, he was born and then continued. And even though we thought these are going to be planned, but every time it was an emergency type of situation. So those stresses are different because you don't know the outcome, right? And even now that will be there back of our mind. So we learn to not think about what happens in the future. We started living right now. So those are some stressors. So we learned with what is happening at that time. When I have too many things coming up, so I have these presentations and I have appointments, is that we want to put everything together, just like you said, too many things, too many balls to juggle. So that's when I stress out also. But I learned the 4 A's that you shared, that's the mantra. So now I know, I'm like, okay, I can take care of this later. Prioritizing helped me. But the stresses that I was going, these are different things. And there is something that is emotional stress. Okay, how do I explain? I give examples. That's how I better explain things. So when somebody is visiting and they're very particular about certain things, I stress out a lot because I'm not sure if I could accommodate that person. But that stress is done, right? Right after the person comes, visits, and leaves. So that's an emotional stress. So that is where I start like busy, running around and talking loud, and I drink too much of coffee at that time. So, which is not good thing to do, but there are certain things like this, like emotional stresses, so having too many things in the same week to wrap up deadlines and all, but I'm able to kind of maintain my stress using the coping skills.
I agree with you. It's like when people are coming over for like a get together or a party or something, and then it's like I'm going through the list. Is there enough food? Is everything straightened up the way that it needs to be? And you cut piling on, and then it's like we're supposed to be having a celebration or something, and then it's like, okay, does everybody have enough to eat? And realizing that people can manage themselves without me kind of interfering on a lot of things. So I know for me, there's a lot of internal stress that I put on myself. Like, I think people are not going to worry that, things are not matching up or something like that.
Yeah.
Or, we didn't have like that extra plate of fruit or something like that. People understand that, things go on. And I think a lot of things stressful as well is just maintaining that, everybody stays healthy or something like that. I
Yes.
worry about other people. I have parents that are getting up there in age. I stress about, okay, are they okay?
Mhm.
Same with me. I'm not a spring chicken anymore, so I have to worry about my health a lot of times as well, and as my children as well, just to make sure, we might have like a health scare here and there and everything. And so that comes to be stressful, but we have to just make sure we plug along the best that we can with a lot of things health wise. So
Yeah, that's where
those
the
mhm,
expectations, right?
mhm, absolutely
So
right.
for me, when somebody is coming with expectations, that is where I um, I used to get stressed a lot. Now the stress went down quite a bit.
Mhm.
But when they are coming to visit me with expectations, that is something. So I actually let people know things change.
Yeah,
I'm not perfect, and don't expect a perfect event. So
exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
so
And
that's
then
something. Yeah.
I think it helps too when sometimes when we're planning things, even like our day to day, just something as simple as asking for help. Can someone, run that grocery run for us or something like that? Or is it okay to maybe get food delivered? Like I noticed with the pandemic and everything, it was stressful to go outside because you were worried about getting sick. One of the better things that came out when people were able to pick out your groceries and then you just go curbside or it brings to your house or something. So
Yeah.
even something as simple as having somebody else do something like that, like a normal everyday thing for you, sometimes helps with
Yeah.
stress as
Yeah.
well. Um so I wanted to ask you, what do you do to release stress, and do you have any tips?
Okay. As you talked about in the presentation, how we are going to respond to the stress is the most important thing, right? I agree 100%. And one of the things I use is it's a technique, tool, whatever, accepting I can control everything. Things happen. So I got to go with the flow. So that's something that helps me a lot. And learning to say no. I did learn most of the time, if I don't have time, I do say no. So that is also helping me. And I have a really good group of friends who were there with me from the beginning of our journey with a lot of challenges with our son. So those friends understand my strengths and they remind me of that on and off when I call them and say, okay, these are all things going on. They're like, Suba, you dealt with a lot more. So this you can. We trust you. We know you can do it. So that reassurance sometimes helps me. And I have great friends to count on that. And hanging out with friends and family is a big thing, talking to them, venting out. And the support groups, we share so many tips. And it's again, a place for us to vent out what we are going through. And we never know who has that tool that can help us too. So I really appreciate the support groups, people that facilitate and the coming and joining us. They're very helpful for me.
Yeah, I want to piggyback on definitely like with the support groups with people that are, going through things that are like-minded a lot of times that, like you said, has that tool that might be able to help you out when you're going through things and not having like the judgment a lot of times that people understand what you've been going through, be it yourself or a relative or something that helps a lot of times. And just having like a good friend and support system and stuff like you were mentioning before, that is very helpful with stress management. Just something as simple as, I used to like to run, can't run as well as I used to. So now I just walk places. So, be it if I'm going to walk to the grocery store now, I'll bring my backpack and walk. And that's just something that alleviates stress a lot of times, is to just get that going, to take the fresh air in, hear the birds chirping or something that just takes me away from a lot of things that are stressful, but it's still getting something off of my to-do list. And then it's still getting the physical exercise. And then it's just combining and stuff. So that kind of helps a lot of times too. I know for me, a lot of times journaling helps. I like to color with the kids. If I just color with them or I color by myself, get those books, something as simple as the dollar store, and you just focus on how to put the colors together. And that's kind of calming and stress relief and everything. So that helps as well. So trying to think. I guess we could go culturally. How is stress defined? And is it even acknowledged in your culture?
Back home, actually, the term we use or used is tension, not stress or stressor. Most of the time you hear tension. I am tensed. I have tension, things like that. And most of the time it is considered as a phase. It's coming and going. And in one way, for some stressors, for some tensions, it is true, like exam tension. Oh my God, my exams are coming, so I'm so tensed up. Yes, that is a phase in one way. Once the exam done, it should be over, right? Because that's a phase, examination phase. But if it is continuous and leads into mental health challenges or illness, then it is totally a different thing. So, but back home, that's how most of the time they use the term tension. And what I observed or heard from other families is, when a child who is a student, I'm talking about a student and a parent combination. When a student complains they are stressed, immediately the parent will talk about how hard they worked to bring the student here and provide with all these classes, extracurricular activities and all that, and start comparing with the other students. Oh, that student is doing better than you, or why did you get 95% when the other one gets 97%? These are building the stress. These are big stressors for a student, right? Because we want our student child to do their best, right? And we want them to be happy. We want them to grow as a whole with happiness and all that. But this is added stress. I'm not generalizing here. I'm talking about what I observed and what I heard from other families. And when I mean, there is a big denial that these stressors can lead into mental health conditions because the stigma and denial is so much around mental illness in South Asia. There are people who even think South Asians are untouchable for mental illness. So it's like a bubble around South Asians. Because no mental illness can pass through that bubble. So recently, when I went into the community to talk about mental health awareness, somebody asked me, what is mental health? This is the South Asian community I'm talking about. And we started explaining what is mental health. And as soon as we talked about suicide is one of the mental health conditions, and immediately they jumped up. They're like, oh, no, let's not talk about it. So, and some people are not even ready to accept that there are students and individuals who died by suicide because of the stressors. So there is still denial for any type of mental illness. And the other thing is the stressors are starting, when you look at the population here, these stressors are starting from the time they migrate, right? When we migrated here, we are more or less, most of us are alone. And this migration may interact with factors like employment. So if somebody is unemployed, they need to look at their immigration status, right? They have to maintain the immigration status. So that is a stressor, constant stressor. And the poverty. So you have all these like rent and you're living. So we have all these other expenses. So think the stressors about that. And trying to incorporate the culture from both the worlds. So, and not able to adjust to the change and trying to fit in, but not able to fit in. Those are the other stressors. And the competitions, comparisons, they all take big part in the community. These are the big stressors. And there are some who acknowledge, and there are still some South Asians who are not able to accept it. So yeah, but I see quite a bit of difference compared to 6-7 years ago when I started working with NAMI New Jersey Samaj to now. I think it's because of the pandemic also, people realized that there is stress associated with a lot of other things, not just your school exams or things like that. So that's something I noticed. People are little more acknowledging compared to before. I hope that change goes in a positive direction and they do get help. How about you, Melanie?
Yeah, it's a lot of similarities, like when we're talking about like students and stuff like that. I know I've observed a lot of times it's like, yeah, you got a 95. What happened to those other 5 points? You know, so the stress to be, it seems like, 10 times better than everybody else is a constant thing that a lot of, I know, African American students have in the back of their heads. I have to be better. I have to be twice as better to get halfway there. And so a lot of times that brings a lot of stress. And then it can manifest itself into a mental health condition as well, because we're upset and then we're going to stay there. And then it just kind of just keeps coming. And then they're not able to channel it in a different way. So then we start to withdrawal or something like that. So a lot of times culturally, it's like, oh, well, it's not that bad. It can't be that bad. Just pull yourself up, just keep going, no matter how bad you feel, keep going. And it's that constant pressure to just keep striving through things. as opposed to just sitting back a lot of times to say, hey, something is wrong. Let me get some help. I think culturally, we don't want to rely on other people. We want to be self-sufficient. We want to be our own maid. So we don't want to rely on anybody else. And I think that happens a lot of times. And when there is something like a mental illness going on, we can't even notice it sometimes because we don't have the words. Sometimes we can't express our feelings in that way, or just to be able to say, hey, something is going on. So like you said before, it's getting better because of the pandemic, that people are actually saying, hey, no, this is something serious I have to take care of. Or somebody else will be able to say that to somebody else. Hey, I noticed, you might be sleeping a little bit more. Hey, I noticed you don't eat as much when we're out. Is there something else going on? So a lot of times that kind of triggers that dialogue sometimes, and helps people to get help. So I think that's a lot of times. And sometimes it seems like, from what I've observed, that having like a struggle or something like that is normalized. Like everybody goes through this. What makes it exceptional for you to be going through the same thing? So a lot of times we get caught into that, and then that's when we don't say anything because of the stigma of, oh, well, you had to get help. So a lot of times culturally we miss out on getting help because of the stigma and everything. So that's, a lot of similarities I've noticed.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So we have at least a couple of more minutes. I see
Yeah.
2 questions in the Q&A. Do you want to answer them live? Our first person says, I work with a student population and would like to know your thoughts on how young students express their stress in their behaviors. You want to take that, or you want me to answer it, or?
We both can answer this. I think some of the behaviors that might come out is not focusing or concentrating in the class. Yes. And maybe being more agitated, and not playing with friends, not able to not able to spend time, have fun, enjoy with the other students in the recess time or lunch time. Those are some of the things that are coming top of my mind. And the homework may not be doing homework, comparing like a baseline, how he or she was doing at one point and how the student is doing now. Is there anything changes? And are they sleeping in the class? Things like that. Those are some of the behaviors that are coming.
Absolutely. I agree with that. Yeah, if there's sleeping a lot, sometimes even in their appearance, sometimes if they look a little disheveled or something, or they're just kind of, some kids might wear the same things, over and over again because they're, having problems, stress related. Sometimes yeah, kind of just agitated, just angry. And then it depends, like if a student is usually pretty outgoing, might be withdrawn by that time. Or like you were saying about the grades and schoolwork and everything, if they're usually pretty good, then they start grades start going down, or the work isn't as good as it used to be or something. Sometimes you could see things like that. Also, if they usually just talk a lot, then they stop talking, or just not being able to sit still just constantly. If they're not eating their lunch or something like that, relying on just other things that aren't helpful, like sometimes they might start using substances and stuff like that to kind of alleviate what's going on. I'm trying to think if there's anything else.
And I would like to add one thing here. We are here as a multicultural program coordinators, not mental health professionals. we are sharing our observations, and when we talk to other parents, what they shared. So these are from our personal experiences that are coming. And once again, we are not mental health professionals. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, these are the things that we talk about in our group sometimes, where we have parents in our group that says, oh, well, I noticed when my student, they stop coming home right after school or something. It's some things that they tell us. But yes, absolutely. We are not mental health professionals by the least, but we've had the experience through people in our group. So, but thank you for adding that. Absolutely. And then our other question is, how do you think we can recognize when a person is stressed and the person does not share it for fear of being judged? Okay. I guess it's kind of the same thing what we were talking about with like the students and stuff like that. Like people would kind of just withdraw. Um if you're around them a lot, you start to notice people's patterns and behaviors and stuff like that. If for some reason they're kind of maybe avoiding you or something because they know that you know them very well, they could be like, oh well, I don't want to meet with this person, or I don't want to see this person because they know me so well. Sometimes, a lot of times, just asking, hey, are you okay? Did something happen to you? um kind of helps to ask them, and just being able to assure them that there's a safe space in talking to you sometimes, and know that you're not like a threat or anything, to be able to say, I'm not going to judge you, I've just noticed these things about your behavior. Is there anything that I could do? If you don't want to talk about it now, I'm always here. Keeping that line of communication open. But yes, stigma is very drives people to be very fearful of being able to express that there's a mental illness going on, or a mental health condition. So I think that's what it is. Like everything that we've kind of shared about what goes on with students, it gets sometimes the same as adults. Like if they start withdrawing, appearance wise, um, someone changes their pattern, their eating habits and stuff like that, sleep patterns and stuff like that. Just something as simple as like, hey, are you getting enough sleep? I've noticed, you're kind of groggy, so. Is there anyone you want to add to that? The
Um,
question. You want me to ask the question again? Is how do you think we can recognize when a person is stressed and a person does not share it for the fear of being judged?
that's the stigma,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So normalizing mental health is the most important thing. That's how I feel. Then there is no fear, right? Once everything normalizes, just like any physical health, mental health is also medical condition, medical illness. So that is something I mean, in our case, we talk about it as a family, we talk about it as like any other physical health. And that actually is helping us open up other our other friends and family members that we know, and talking to them. That's something I share that way. Like I tell, if I noticed somebody is going through a stressor, I share my stressor. Like I feel sometime like this. How are you doing? So sometimes that may start the dialogue. Or there are times I just messaged somebody, actually one of my friend who is going through a lot of stressors, never opened up. So I just sent one small message to her saying, hey, I'm here if you need to talk. That's it, nothing else. It took me a couple months, but she's able to open up and talk to me. So things like that. Sometimes venting is a big help to reduce the stress. And even for me, like when I went out, I hear myself back. So that helps me kind of, oh, okay, I think I can take this challenge, that type of feeling. So that's what I have to add to what you said.
Excellent. Excellent, excellent. I hope that answered your question. It was very, very good feedback. So we're coming down to the last few minutes. If you want, we can maybe take one more question if you want to type it in the chat.
Looks
Okay.
like chat is disabled. I didn't realize that. I'm so sorry about that.
Yes.
Please put it in Q&A.
Yes, please. Absolutely. Put in the Q&A. We have a few more minutes. While people might be thinking of things or just kind of taking everything in, is there any final words you want to say? Anything you want to wrap up?
I just want to let everybody know we are very grateful that you joined us today for our multicultural conversation, and we have more and more conversations coming up. And please visit NAMI New Jersey website, naminj.org. I know there are some educators here. We do have educational programs for students, families, and educators. And also we have a lot of other programs like family to family, basics, where we can, as a family member, educate ourselves. So it's empowerment, right?
Yes.
Knowledge is power. So that's what is happening. So we are, as a family member, with a loved one with mental illness, I learned quite a bit from these classes. So please try to check out naminj.org for other programs that we have. And we have tons of support groups and presentations.
Absolutely. That is an excellent way to sum up. Definitely check out our website. Plenty of resources there. Most of them are free, so you can definitely check them out and take advantage of them. So if there's not anything else in the Q&A, we thank you for being a part of our afternoon. We enjoyed the dialogue. Oh, we maybe popped up with one more. Hold on a second. Oh, they're saying thank you. We're very, very appreciative that you decided to use your afternoon lunch break on a Friday to come join us. Like we said before, check out our website at naminj.org. And if there isn't anything else, you have a wonderful afternoon and a better weekend. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.